Feel like a tradition for me having at least one show every year where I have NHL basketball. Hi, well, welcome back to the Purple Brain podcast and a very exciting birth edition for you guys today, because we now have the information we've all been waiting for, and that is confirmation that the Takeover Tour is going to be back, bigger and bolder than last season. As you guys know, the huge success of last season was the Takeover Tour. We visited 9 cities, and it was it was absolutely incredible. I mean, honestly, it went better than I ever could imagine it was. No, I mean, we saw fans come out and not just attend the game, but they also really got involved. They engaged with us, and that's what we wanted to see. It was just absolutely incredible achievement. And over the summer, there was a lot of talk about, you know, could there be another Takeover Tour, and if so, where could we go? You remember during the summer there was an article on the Hockey News about potential locations, which caused the Poetry. I did an episode on that. They're not here, by the way. I did say to Poetry, "Are you sure you don't want to come on?" They're like, "No, you should do how you did it last year." Because obviously we did the episode we were doing last year's tour. I obviously was joined by the St. Louis Blues mascot Louis. But I can't remember exactly, but I think on that day we recorded, I was also doing something with regard to Terraport with Louis, so I just thought, well, we may as well just stay. There's no point me sending him back down. Yeah, so they thought, well, so the Poetry thought, why do you do it with these two? So there we go. They are going to come on an episode where we're going to talk about the dual locations. We're going to do a separate episode on the dual location market, so they're going to come on for that one. Give your thoughts on that. But they are, just like me, we're really excited for it, and it's so excited to have the tour back. So yeah, so Bernie's here for the Colorado Avalanche, and we've got Tommy here from the Chicago Blackhawks, just in case you're just listening on the audio. But yeah, so Bernie, you're back on the tour! Yay! Well done, Bernie. I really want you to have a team, Bernie. I really do. Just so we can get more easier travel for the frost. Yeah. So, let's get to it, shall we? Let's waste no time. Let's get straight down to it. Especially as these two could potentially get rowdy. Right. So, the PWHL announces the return of the PWHL Takeover Tour for the 2025-26 season, which will expand to 16 neutral site regular season games that will be played outside the league's current complement of cities. Last season's tour drew 123,601 fans with record-breaking crowds across 9 games, sparking new fan engagement and expanding the PWHL's reach beyond its home markets. So this season, we have 16 games that will be contested in 11 different markets, spanning the United States and Canada. The PWHL will visit 7 new cities. These include Calgary, Chicago. There you are, Tommy. There you are. We're coming to you in a minute, my friend. We're just going to read the article. We'll do some thoughts. That's how we roll here. Birdie can tell you, because Bird's been on already. It's Calgary, Chicago, Dallas, Halifax, Hamilton, Washington DC, and Winnipeg, and we'll return to Denver. Hey, buddy! Return to Denver, Detroit, Edmonton, and Quebec City. Yeah. So, as you guys saw, Detroit's there. That means every single season so far, we are entering year 3. We were recording this episode with just 8 days to go for opening night of year 3. And Detroit has now been given a game every single season. Now, for those of you watching in Michigan, I have just one thing to say. build a second arena! Come on! I know you guys want a team, you're passionate, you're ready to go, but you don't have the infrastructure unlike these two! You don't have it! You do not have the infrastructure. So build a second arena, and then we can talk. It's the same for Calgary. Okay? I know some of you are thinking, when are they going to care and get Detroit a team? Why are you building another arena, guys? Come on. Come on. Oh dear. Now, as you'll notice, 16 games, 11 markets. Well, yeah, that's because of this season. This time, 5 markets will get to host 2 PWHL Takeover Tour games. And they are these 2. So, Denver and Chicago, along with Edmonton, Detroit, and Halifax. So that's going to be very exciting. Now, I really love how this year's tour we've gone for. We've got some more cities that I'm going to go through this schedule in a minute, but I just want to quickly say something. But I'm really excited we've got more cities this year that are non-AHL markets. I've been saying when it comes to expansion, eventually I will want the league to go to markets that aren't AHL markets. Like I've already mentioned a few already so far, like Milwaukee, like Cleveland. Of course, Cleveland did just recently host a rival series game. You know, and maybe Halifax, Hamilton, and Quebec could be those options of Canada. Yeah, so I'm really excited that we are going to markets that have not AHL cities, but also we're going to be visiting arenas that are not housed by AHL teams, and that is the case with Tommy. Yes. As you'll notice, for both games in Chicago, we are not going to Tommy's Place, we're not going to the United Center, we are going to Allstate Arena, and that is the home of the Chicago Wolves, of the black sheep, I like to call it, of the American Hockey League, because they've been a nightmare, especially since I've been bowled over the last decade now. Yeah, and we are going to cover some. There's been something regarding Chicago. So Tommy, you're going to be coming back on with me for another time. Yeah, so it looks like Chicago is really getting a case ready for expansion. So yeah, so that's pretty exciting. So yeah, so I'm pleased that it's not just with Halifax and Hamilton and Quebec. We're also going to be having more of the AHL markets that are not being at bar. That's brilliant, because I just think, yeah, I mean, visiting these AHL arenas is great, but there are plenty of arenas in markets that aren't AHL built, and they can just do as well, so I'm glad we're getting that mixed in there. Pretty exciting. And of course, yes, those dual stops. Now, we're going to go more on this next time when Lady are here with me. But you've got to look at those 5 markets. So Chicago, Denver, Detroit, Michigan, yeah, Detroit, sorry, in Michigan. Yeah, so Chicago, Illinois, Denver, Colorado, Detroit in Michigan, Edmonton, Alberta, and Halifax in Nova Scotia. Yeah, I had to look up where Halifax is. I don't know, I've not heard of Halifax or Hamilton, so I had to look up where those are. Hamilton is in Ontario, so that's going to be a crowded market. And then you got Halifax in Nova Scotia. Yes, I had to literally look up where those 2 were. So there you go. Those 5, you've got to look at them and think, are they going to be the leading candidates for future expansion in the PHL? And we know that the PHL is determined to go aggressive with the expansion. And I think that's the right move. Because there's so many markets that are interested in having the PHL in their city. So why not go aggressive, and why not just go with multiple expansions? You know, if the market's there, if the interest is there, and the talent is there, which we know it is, especially if we're going to have some very stacked drafts over the next few years, then why not just go accelerate the growth? I mean, we you know, so I've got no problem with the sorry, I've got no problem with the PHL compared to the AHL. The AHL, I think, no more expansion, please. But the PHL, I don't mind, you know, going aggressive on expansion, you know, because we need to grow this league and we need to do it fast. So, yeah. So the more the merrier for the PHL, because the interest is there. So the interest is there. Yeah, so really excited. And as you guys know, Denver, for me, is a pride. I'm going to make him go giddy. Yeah, there we go. Denver, for me, is a prime candidate that I want for expansion. And Tommy, I wouldn't mind you having one too, because I think, you know, we need some more central-based teams. Right now, we are on an island. You've got the Charge, Big 12, and Sectors all close together. You've got the newbies, so the Torrent and the Golden Eyes, literally close together as well. I think the Fleet and Sirens aren't too far apart. My geography is shit, so don't call on that. We right now are just on an island, so we need more central time zone teams, and so these two, for me, would be a perfect example. But obviously, if she's put one right now, it's Burnley. It's Denver. That's for me. What I thought. So let's go through all the stops as a whole, and we'll go. Oh, and we'll go for Warsaw then. When we went through this on Monday, Pluto Lady were a bit like, what? Why Winnipeg? And I agree with them. Because as we know, Winnipeg, you're not really good at filling that barn with the Jets, so they're like, why that? And of course, also that's the same barn that the Manitoba Moose play in the AHL. I'm not sure how their tennis as well, because I don't see them, because we're in different divisions, although the same conference. So they weren't really keen on Winnipeg. They weren't too sure about Washington or Dallas, but Lady just was like, absolutely hooray for Calgary, because I think she really wants Calgary to get a team, but I keep saying to her, Calgary's in the same position as Detroit. And I agree with Lady. I think Calgary would be a great location, because Calgary has got this rich women's hockey history, but the problem is they're in the same boat as Detroit is. So that's why I think if Alberta gets a team, it's probably going to be Edmonton over Calgary. But we can have that conversation another time, especially how Edmonton this season is really getting its fair share of women's hockey. They've got both Canadian legs in the Rivalry Series in December, and they've got 2 Takeover Tour games coming this season. So we're going to go through the schedule now. So, here we go. So let's bring it out. So the 16 games we played over a span of 112 days, beginning on the 17th of December 2025 through the 7th of April 2026. Predominantly at venues that are homes to AHL teams. All 8 PHL teams will participate in at least 3 games, with 2 of them representing home games on their schedules. The Montreal Victoire, the York Sirens, and the Vancouver Golden Eyes will each play in 5 Takeover Tour games. So the Victoire, again, getting the lion's share like they did last year. Hoping the Victoire is more spread out, because last season all the Victoires Takeover Tour games were literally just 1 week after the other. So pulled there, they didn't have the love spread around. The Ottawa Charge and Seattle Torrent will play 4 times on the tour, and that means the Boston Fleet, the Minnesota Frost, and the Toronto Raptors will be on the tour 3 times. Prior to announcing Seattle Vancouver as the league's first 2 expansion teams in April, last season's PHL Takeover Tour launched in the West Coast on January the 5th at Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena, with a crowd of 12,608 fans who saw the Victoire face the Fleet. That was followed 3 days later with a sold-out crowd on January 8th at Vancouver's Rogers Arena, with 90,008 fans in attendance to watch the Sectors and the Victoire. And that game ranks 4th all-time in PHL single game attendance, and 1 of 5 PHL Takeover Tour games in the league's top 10 attendance figures. And I should also point out that game outdraw all Vancouver Canucks home games last season. So there you go. The interest is there. Yes, it's really, really good. So we're really excited. So tickets for the PHL Takeover Tour will be available starting with pre-sales beginning on the 13th of November, followed by the general on sale on Friday the 14th of November at 10 AM local time in host markets. Ooh. Right. I need to look into that. Yeah. Right. Let's go through the schedule. So, here we go. So I'm going to run you through the schedule. I'll give you the dates, the teams in bold, and the city. Okay? I won't bother with times because they're all based different time zones, and you can go look it up for your respective team. It is on your schedules. I had a look on when we got the information on Monday. I had a look, and and the Frost, it was updated for our respective time zones. Okay, so so if you want to work out where your time zones are, you just need to go on the respective teams website. Okay, so let's begin. So Wednesday, December 17. The Montreal Victoire versus Toronto Scepters at the Scotiabank Centre in Halifax, Nova Scotia. That is the first of the 2 games in Halifax. So Halifax will kick us off in just over a month's time. I'm really excited because I've never heard of Halifax before, and obviously because this season we are upping our coverage. We're going to try and get as many Takeover Tour games watched as possible. Can I get some tissue, boys? There we go. There we go. We did watch all the replays for last season's tour, because obviously we did a bonus episode where we all just talked about our highlights of the tour. We're going to do that again, obviously, at the end of this season's tour. So but because we're upping our coverage this year, we're hoping to get a lot more Takeover games, and I'm going to target Halifax ones because I've never been, because I don't know anything about Halifax or Hamilton, so I'm going to try and target those. So we kick off in Halifax. Then the next 2, I believe, the next 2 involve My Frost. And it's our last game before Christmas and our first game back from Christmas. So the second stop is on Sunday, December 21st, and that is the Ottawa Charge versus Minnesota Frost at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. So Tommy, you're going to see it in our championship jerseys. It's just dawned on me today. Because obviously the Minnesota Frost are wearing championship jerseys from the start of the season, so on November the 21st, all the way through to January. So that's going to be January the 28th. So that means you'll get to see our championship jerseys because we're the home team of that one, Tommy. Yay! Chicago, lucky you. And that's going to be at the Allstate Arena, which, as I mentioned, is the home to the Chicago Wolves. Next door to it, there's a practice facility nearby, so that is going to really help get Chicago a PWHL team. We're going to call that another time. Not for now. Not for today. Not for now. Okay, so that is our last game for the Frost before Christmas. And then the third stop is our first game after Christmas, and it's our first ever matchup against the Vancouver Golden Eyes, and it is the first of the 2 games in Edmonton. So Saturday, December 27th, it's Minnesota Frost versus Vancouver Golden Eyes at Rogers Place, Edmonton, Alberta. And that sadly does mean that for us this season, we're only going to get 1 visit to Pacific Coliseum. That's the last day of the regular season. We're not happy about that. But hey ho. And then then on Sunday, December 28th, so the next day, it's the Seattle Torrent versus New York Sirens at American Airlines Center, Dallas, Texas. That's interesting that Dallas has been given a game. That is quite interesting. That's interesting. There was a little hoo-ha over the summer regarding one of the hockey programs in Dallas. I've not had a chance to get full grip on that story in full. I think I started and then went away from it because I thought, I'm not sure how they feel about that. We'll see. That's gonna be that'll be interesting. And given how it's quite not long after Christmas, we'll see. Then on Saturday, January the 3rd, we have Seattle Torrent versus Toronto Scepters. That is at TD Coliseum, Hamilton, Ontario. That's going to be the loan visit to Hamilton. I'm surprised. Now, don't get me wrong, I think it's a good matchup, but I'm surprised that for the Hamilton stop, they didn't want to do Ottawa Charge, Toronto Scepters, and have it like a proper full-blown Battle of Ontario. I'm sure Hamilton is going to pack it out no problems, but they might have got a guaranteed sellout if you swap the Torrent out of the Charge. Just saying. I'm just saying. But that's a good matchup there. And I'm going to be obviously penciling that one in my diary. I need to check if the Halifax and Hamilton ones clash with any Frost games, because I do want to watch those three, because I just don't know anything about those markets. Whereas last year I did know a bit about Quebec. So yeah. My generation know all about Quebec, because obviously, you know, it was the mid-90s, and for those of us who grew up in the noughties, you knew about what happened with Quebec, so yeah. And Hartford, so yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to check those three, so that's going to be exciting. So yeah, so Torrent and Scepters will be in on Hamilton, Ontario. Also, we've got to do we do have some, now this is interesting. Last season, there were no Takeover Tour double headers. All 9 games got to shine in the spotlight. There were some that were held on the same day as another PHL game going on, but that was fine. But this year we do a few Takeover Tour double headers, and this is the first. So you have that one in Hamilton on the same day, so January the 3rd. You will have the Vancouver Golden Knights versus Boston Fleet. That'll be the first of the 2 games at Little Caesars Arena, Detroit, Michigan. Okay, so yeah, so the Fleet will return to Detroit, because obviously the Fleet played in that first game back in the season in Michigan, so that's going to return for the Fleet there. Oh, okay. Right, then we have January the 11th, which I think is another double header. Yes, it is. So Sunday, January 11th, we have Ottawa Charge versus Boston Fleet at Scotiabank Centre, Halifax, Nova Scotia. So that's the second of the 2 Halifax games. That should be a really exciting matchup, given how things got a bit out of hand between those 2 sides last year. Just saying, handbags flew. So you good one there. On the same day, you have the Vancouver Golden Knights versus Montreal Victoire at the Beatron Centre, Quebec City, Quebec. So the Victoire returning to Quebec City. I'm not surprised it's Montreal who's going to be going back to Quebec, given how they're not too far away. Just like how it makes sense with both would make sense for Toronto to be one of the 2 teams in the Ontario and the Hamilton one. Yeah, Quebec. I think did Quebec sell out last year or get close to selling out last year? I think they did. I think they might have sold out last year. So we've got no problems with that. Because of course Quebec are really trying hard to get a team. I feel like Quebec really is making an effort, and just in this last year, Quebec is starting to make me now change my stance, and I do feel now if Quebec was to get a team, I would be more welcoming it. We do know they're going to be hosting the World Championships, not next year, but the year after next. So that is 2027. So, yeah, so I feel Quebec is showing momentum and promise. Just need to and I think the fact we've got a return trip there might help confirm, yes, is this market viable for the league? And I think it could be. So there you go. Yeah, so Quebec, you really have changed my stance, so that's really good there. It's the fact that Halifax has got 2 with Quebec. Nice, that's interesting. We'll talk more about that another time. Okay, so then on Sunday, January 18th, we have the Montreal Victoire versus York Sirens at Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C. It kind of makes sense to have a Takeover Tour game at the nation's capital. I don't know how well that's gonna do. I don't really know if Washington has a rich history in women's hockey. I mean, yeah. And given how Washington right now is literally dominated by obviously Alex Ovechkin. So yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if that is one of the markets that doesn't do as well, because we saw last year not all markets did succeed. Buffalo and St. Louis were the 2 low markets of the night that drew less than 10,000. So I wouldn't be surprised if Washington might win. I just don't know how that's going to do, especially how near that area. Because remember when we went to Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, they didn't draw out well either. So We'll see about that. And then on Sunday, January the 25th, Bernie! It's the first of your 2 stops! Do you want to know who you're hosting? Yes, okay. So on January the 25th, and that's the last Takeover Tour game before the Olympics, you will host, Bernie, the Vancouver Golden Eyes versus Seattle Torrent at Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. How excited are you, Bernie? You excited? 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 Yeah, look at him! Look at him, he's so excited! And then we return. So the Takeover Tour will then pause for the Olympic break, as the league is going to do. The league is going to have a 1-month pause from the 29th of January to the 25th of February 2026 for the Milan Cortina Olympics. So excited for that. And then obviously the league will return on the 26th of February. My team doesn't come back until the 1st of March, when we're going to be at Place Belle taking on the Victoire. The Takeover Tour will then resume on the 15th of March. That is Sunday, March the 15th. And Bernie, it's you again! It's you again, Bernie! And this time, Bernie, Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado will welcome the New York Sirens and the Minnesota Frost. Hey! So excited for that. And I really, really, really pray to the hockey gods that Nicole Hensley is a healthy scratch. Because Nicole Hensley, World War II outstanding minus love with Mandy Rooney. Nicole Hensley, we know, is a native to Colorado. Sadly, she wasn't able to get the start because she was dealing with an injury. So Maddie really got the start instead. So I'm really praying that this time, Nicole Hensley will get that start. She'll get to have that game. I really am going to pray for her to get that start. I really hope she does. That's going to be really exciting. And yeah, so that's a return for us. Last year's Takeover Tour in Denver was amazing. You had us take on the Montreal Victoire. At the time, that was kind of a top of the league clash. It was really successful. You got more than 14,000 roughly to attend that game, despite AFL having a game on the same day. So that just was brilliant. I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited the Frost get to go back. So yeah, so Chicago, Edmonton, and Denver are the 3 stops for the Minnesota Frost this season. So yeah, great we got that. I mean, there's a chance that some teams on the Takeover Tour are going to be going back to markets they've already been. I'm fine with that. I'm fine. Just and Chicago, Edmonton, going to be exciting as well. So yeah, so there you go. Right, and then Sunday, March 22nd, we have Montreal Victoire versus Ottawa Charge at Canada Light Centre, Winnipeg, Manitoba. This is another game I'm not sure is going to draw well, because Winnipeg is not great when it comes to attendance. I mean, this season, the Jets are celebrating their 15th anniversary since they moved from Atlanta. Yep. Yeah. And Winnipeg had never really drawn out well. I mean, the Jets, let's face it, haven't really had that much success. I mean, apart from their run to the 2018 Western Conference Finals and winning the President's Trophy this time last season, which nobody saw coming. Nobody saw that coming. The Jets haven't really had that much success, so yeah. And I do know that's also the same place that the Manitoba Moose or the AHL play. I think they do better than the Jets do. Yeah, so I'm not sure how that's going to draw. I'm actually quite... For me, I think for all 3 of us, Winnipeg was a bit of a surprise. And Eddie was like, really? We're going to give a game to Winnipeg? Winnipeg? I don't know. Yeah, it's no offence to Winnipeg as a whole. It's just... We want to have markets that we know are going to really welcome the league in full spirit and are really going to make an effort to come out. So, and for me, as long as you can get to 10,000, I think is what you should be aiming for as a minimum of fans to get in these single games. I mean, but that's great, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So we'll see how that one goes. Okay, and then on Wednesday, March 25th, we have the New York Sirens versus Seattle Torrent at Allstate Arena, Chicago, Illinois. Hey! So you're going to welcome Sir Philip, Harry Knight, Tommy. How you feel about that? Oh, he looks quite excited about that. It's gonna be really good. Really excited. Well done. You're gonna look forward to that. That's gonna be a star-studded night. Be a bit more less intense than the first Chicago match, because obviously the first Chicago match is gonna be a World Cup Finals rematch between the Charge and Frost, so that's gonna be really brilliant. And obviously you've got the two big stars, Harry Knight, Sir Philip. It's gonna be quite a night. There. It's gonna be really excited. So and again, mind you, that is in All-State Arena. And I think if the PWHL was to expand Chicago, I think that would be where they would go, because the United Center is the exact same boat as Little Caesars Arena and the Style Dome in Calgary, which we're going to get to in a moment. We've got a few more though. So Saturday, March 28th, New York Sirens versus Montreal Victoire at Little Caesars Arena, Detroit, Michigan. So New York, like Boston, will also make a return trip to Detroit. That means that by the end of this season's tour, Detroit will have hosted half of the league's teams. Us, right, let's go test my memory now, guys. Us, Boston, New York, and Montreal. And Ottawa. Did I mention Ottawa? Should I again? So us, Boston, Montreal, New York, and Ottawa. That's 5. So 3/4 of the league are hosted by this season's Takeover Tour. 5 there. Yeah. Detroit, we know you're going to sell them out. It'd be interested to see if the second game at Detroit outsells the first. Because Detroit, the numbers just keep going up and up and up each time. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Yeah. Right, then Wednesday, April the 1st, Toronto Scepters versus Ottawa Charge at Scotiabank Stardom, Calgary, Alberta! Again, Alberta will see another Battle of Ontario. Well, last season we had Edmonton host these two teams, and now it's Calgary's turn. Lady's really excited for this one. She's really excited for this one. Lady, really, just like how I'm really pushing for Denver, Lady's really pushing for Calgary to get expansion team, and I can understand why. And I agree with her. Calgary would be a great fit. Calgary has this rich history of women's hockey. They've obviously had some decentralization camps there a couple of times for the women's national teams. Calgary would work. The problem with Calgary is there are too many tenants in that arena. So I think we have to say the PHL is really lucky that they've managed to find a day free in the Canada to get this game, because there's so many tenants right now at that arena. Not just the Calgary Flames, but also you have the Calgary Wranglers of the American Hockey League, and there are a couple of other teams in different sports as well. So that is not. So in terms of expansion team, that is not the place to go. Unlike with Detroit, there's nowhere else you can go right now. So again, Calgary, you need to build a new arena. You need to build another arena, and then we can talk. Okay? So, yeah. But that's a really exciting one. Hopefully, we'll be able to watch that one, because I know Lady's really excited that Calgary is getting a game. She wants Calgary to get a team. I agree with her too. I think there's room for both Alberta cities, because obviously we've got 2 Ontario cities in Ottawa and Toronto. I think there's easily could be room for both Alberta cities to get a team. But right now, Edmonton's the more likely to get that team, because they have got the facilities, whereas Calgary unfortunately doesn't. Okay, and then the final stop is Tuesday on the 7th. That's the Boston Fleet versus Bank of Eyes at Rogers Place, Edmonton, Alberta. So the final 2 stops will be in Alberta. So that's going to be really exciting. I do kind of feel for the Golden Eyes, because it's their first season, and they've got 5 stops. 2 of their stops are in Edmonton. Now, if this was me and this was the Frost, and 2 of our stops were in the same city, I'd have a bit of an issue with that, because I'd be scratching my head at that, because I would want as many cities to have the opportunity to see my team. So don't get me wrong, I'm really happy with going back to Denver, because I want Denver to have a team one day. But it's also going to go to Chicago and Edmonton as well. That's going to be really, really exciting. Yeah. So if I was a Golden Ice fan this season, I would be a little bit disappointed that two of the stocks we've got are in the same place. Robert Wallace, especially how the Torrent. If you look at their third expansion sisters, the Torrent have been spread around quite a fair bit compared to the Golden Ice. That's not too much of a big deal. Yeah, so really exciting. I will be covering the Takeover Tour in full, just like we did last season. If you remember last season, after each game, I recorded a very special Burst episode where we recapped the game as a whole, and I was joined by and Bernie, you'll remember this. You can go and watch them back. They're all down the feed. You can go and watch them back or listen to them, however it takes fancy. I was joined by the AHL mascot of that city that we took over. So that meant only one of those games I was on my own. This is why we need the PHL to have mascots, because because honestly, no offence Bernie, but I would have preferred to have done those special Burst episodes last year with actually PWHL mascots rather than the AHL mascots, because I could have got what I've got now and have both could come up and been great. But hey, we're still young. This league is still young. There is still time. There's still time for that. There is still time to get mascots. Yeah, so this is why we need to have PWHL mascots so they can come and join me on the Takeover Tour recaps. Yeah, we cut every single game. I'm going to do that again this year. So, oh my god, that's a mammoth load. 16 Burst episodes to come in the 25-26 season dedicated to the Takeover Tour. Plus one in the summer of 2026, where we'll be when the whole Tour will be doing some memorable moments from each game. We're going to record that in the summer. We'll call that as one of the many things we'll be doing during the off season. That'll be fine. It's how we did it this past season. So we'll do that again this year. That's going to be excited. So I'm going to be sorry about that. Yeah, so that's going to be really, really exciting. So those will be back again. I, of course, will be doing my best to promote the tour. As you remember, on my socials, I did do promotional posts for every single game. I'm going to be doing that again this year. And I'll also be doing those little special videos to basically calling the fans, the locals in those markets to try and come out and support us, because we want as many people as possibly can to attend these games. Last year, we got more than 123,000 people attending at least one of the 9 games. We've got 16 this year, guys. We have the opportunity to literally surpass that and skyrocket it. Okay? So I want as many people to come out and attend these games. And what was really interesting when we got the stats for the Takeover Tour is that a large percentage of people, that was their first time in those arenas, which I think is really interesting. That really, of all the stats, I can't remember what the exact number was. We did reference it on the video we did in the summer where we did memorable moments with it. So you can go check. It's called Girls on Tour. So you can go and check that episode out. That is where I have the exact figures. So I can't remember off the top of my head now. But when I saw that figure, I was really shocked that for the large percentage of people, that's the first time they've been to that arena. And only one of those arenas was not an NHL arena. That was Quebec. So that was really, really interesting to see. And we'll see if that number grows or decreases after this season's tour. That really, really took me by surprise that day. That really did take me by surprise. Yeah, I was shocked by that. I really was. Yeah, so we're really excited. Really, really, really excited for this. Yeah. And this season, I can't wish that they did come up. I did ask them. And they're like, no, you should do how you did last year. And I'm like, yeah, well, how I did it last year was unplanned. I didn't plan to have Louis come and invade us last year. It was because I think it must have been something for the Winter Classics. Obviously, last year, Tommy and Louis were based up in the Winter Classic last year. So I think it must have been for that. So that's why I had Louis come up, because we might have done some material report and then thought, well, I might as well get the tour done as well. So, yeah, they didn't plan it. But it's kind of nice. I mean, look, they're being very well behaved, aren't they? And normally these two will be trying to bite each other's heads off. Tommy, you're not supposed to admit that! Bernie, you can free pass at him. Go. No, you missed, Bernie. You got my hand. Try again. Don't worry, it didn't hurt. Try again. 1. I'll cut you down. 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah, you got him that time. Honestly. This is the kind of behaviour you get from Chicago because Tommy is a nightmare. So you are going to be visiting Allstate Arena. Are you going to be in Chicago? Watch out for Tommy because he might get you when you least expect it. I survived Philadelphia without encountering Gritty, so but just in case, just watch out. I always was on guard when I was on the streets. No, I survived that, but no, just so you're going to Chicago, watch out because Tommy is a horror. He's a nightmare. He can be a bit unruly when he wants to be. Yeah. So I say, so me and Fernando, we kind of look at the Takeover Tour different this year. When the tour was announced last year, we didn't really see it as like a testing ground for potential expansion markets. We knew expansion was potentially on the cards because the league signaled did before the season began. But us three, we kind of saw this because obviously this was only literally in our second season last year. Us three kind of saw this as an opportunity to grow our league even further. And we did that. You saw that. The engagement we got from the fans in these markets and the reach we got was brilliant. So that's how we feel. But now that obviously we have Seattle and Vancouver join the league, and of course they initially were Takeover Tour starts, us we kind of have to go look at each Takeover game and go, could that city join us, say, this time next year? So that's going to be interesting. And for the 5 cities that have got 2 games, I'd be happy to look at them and say they are the leading contenders. And it's interesting because the Women's Hockey Report, which you can go and check out on the Locked On AHL podcast, they have episodes every single Saturday. We make sure to watch them every single Saturday in this house, in this household, along course with every single episode of Drops and Jills whenever they get dropped. The Women's Hockey Report did mention this because could some cities maybe get more than 1 game? Could they be seen as potential candidates for expansion? So, you've got to look at those 5. So, Chicago, Denver, Detroit, Edmonton, and Halifax. You have to look at those 5 and think, how close were they in the last round to get an expansion team? And could they be given an expansion team in the next round? Because we potentially could be looking at 2 to 4 teams in the next round. So, for me, I would easily go, just take Detroit out, and there you go, that's your 4. Because you don't... I know! Ow! Stay in your basket! I know! There's going to be so many people watching Detroit going, why are you bashing us? I'm not! I want you to have a team! I want you to have a team, Detroit. But unfortunately, I have learned you haven't got the facilities. And that is a must-have. You want to have a team, the PWHL. I'm sorry, it's a must-have. I don't make the rules. I don't make the criteria. I just enforce it. Okay, I want you to have a team, but you're just... And also, Detroit is a market I look at a bit. Yes, that would be ready this time tomorrow. And for me, those are the markets I'm not really keen on right now, given how we are very much in the growing stage of the league. Markets like Detroit are who you add where your league is established, and it's viable, and it's stable, and people don't have to question your existence. That is when the markets like Detroit should be added. Right now, we need to look for those, as they say in Aladdin, those diamonds in the rough. The markets that could work and have the potential, like we saw in Vancouver, like we saw in Seattle, and we've seen since the Torrents and Golden Eyes were awarded their teams, we've seen the intent from the fans. Season ticket sales went through the roof. Jersey sales went through the roof. So the interest is there. I've got no problem that these 2 sides are going to struggle in their season. I'm not. But so yeah. So to me, if we're looking at 2 to 4, right? Because we don't know what the times are. We don't know how they're going to get in. The league has said it's going to be between 2 to 4 teams in the next round. So if it's 2 teams, then it has to be Denver and Edmonton. because I just feel that Lee will want to do another 1 US, 1 Canadian bid. That's how I feel. But if it's going to be 4 teams, then easily these 2, so Chicago and Denver, plus Edmonton and Halifax. And Halifax would then be one of those markets that is not an NHL market I want to see added to the league. And then maybe look at then Quebec going forward. I'm very surprised that Quebec has only got 1 game, not 2. And that's just because I don't know anything about Halifax. I feel like this tour I'm gonna learn so much about both Hamilton and Halifax, and maybe when we have those slots, that might change my tune about how I feel about those markets. So, if anybody watching in Halifax, please don't be offended. It's just if I'm putting you down, it's just I don't know anything about you. I don't know anything about that. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm surprised that Halifax has sort of got 2 games and could potentially jump Quebec in the queue when it comes to expansion. Because we know that Quebec last season did sell out. That game between the Chargers and the Big 12, it did sell out. So we know the interest is there. And it's going to sell out again this season. You just know it will. So I'm wondering I don't know. Right. The Jewel City, I think they're the ones we need to look at the potential expansions. I think they're the ones whose attendance, when it gets announced, you need to look very, very carefully. The others, so the other 6 markets, just have fun. Just have fun with it. You know, and treat it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because that's how I kind of feel that whenever a city gets awarded a Takeover Tour game, that's how I feel like you need to treat it. You need to treat it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you're never going to get again. Okay? So, and there have been some markets that literally have been just one and done. Pittsburgh is the obvious example because they did crap. It wasn't just their attendance, the atmosphere, because obviously me and Plurdy did watch both Takeover weekend games that season. And we felt Detroit was like, yeah, they're really getting involved, they're really getting engaged with it. Vancouver, and then when we got to Pittsburgh, it was the completely opposite. It's like that. Radio silence. They weren't really being bold. They weren't being enthusiastic with it. And yet, like Vancouver, they got... In fact, it was the exact same matchup that Vancouver had. It was the Big 12, the Scepters. But of course, back then they didn't have their names. So you had stars like Natalie Spooner, Sarah Nurse, which was still with the Scepters, Marie-Philippe Glenn, Laura Stacey. It's just like... Pittsburgh, we could have gone somewhere else, you know, that would have gladly had this. So for me, whenever a city gets given a Takeover Tour game, I need you to treat it as it is your one and only opportunity to have PWHL hockey in your city. Treat it like a once-in-a-lifetime experience you're never ever gonna get again. Okay? Treat it like that. Alright? Treat it like that. Okay? Okay? So do that. Can you do that? So can these cities, can you do that for me on this tour? Can you do that for me, please? Treat it as a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Can you do that for me? That'd be really good, thank you. Just do that. Just do that as a favour to me. As a favour from this PHL advocate. Just for me. Treat these games as your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And that's obviously for the markets that have not got more than 1 game. So, that is... This is going to tell them right now. So that's obviously it's Hamilton, Dallas, Washington, Calgary, Winnipeg. I'm missing one. Hamilton, Washington, Dallas, Calgary, Winnipeg. I'm missing one. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? I don't want to check. I don't want to check. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? I'm going to check it. Oh! I got 5 of them. Oh, who am I missing? Who am I missing? Let's have a look. Who did I miss off? Let's see. it's Calgary, Hamilton, Winnipeg, Washington, Dallas, Calgary. Yeah. Hamilton. It might have been Dallas I missed off. Hamilton, Dallas, Calgary, Washington. Yeah, so Calgary, Hamilton, that's 2. Dallas, Winnipeg, Washington. I don't know, who am I missing off? I keep feeling like I'm missing somebody. Because 5 have got double, I've got 2. That means 6 should have only 1. Who the fuck am I missing? Calgary, Hamilton, Winnipeg. Dallas, Washington. Right, tell you what, let's not bother. Cause we'll be here all night. The city I've missed off, just tell me in the comments who it is. Because we'll be here all night. We'll be here all night trying to scratch our heads, and some of us got other things to do. There is pre-season tonight, guys, so yeah, so actually we can't really stay up all night crying up. Just let me know in the comments which it was, who it was I missed off. Okay, so we're really excited. Now, if you're hoping to go to a game, if you're hoping to go to a Takeover Tour this year, then the moment those tickets go on sale, you need to act fast, because they sold like hotcakes. Literally, in the run-up to each stop, I kept looking on Ticketmaster just to see how well the sales were doing. And within the first few days of the go on sale, some of them, a lot, had pretty much already gone. Wasn't much blue there. Because if you've ever bought tickets off Ticketmaster, blue signals availability and grey signals unavailability. So there was a lot of grey on a lot of these stops. And I was thinking, that's brilliant. Because I was a bit nervous about how well were these markets going to take. Was the tour going to really... Was the tour still on? It was just like, great. Obviously, we had a few anomalies, like I mentioned. Buffalo and St. Louis didn't sell well. Raleigh just snuck it. Raleigh just managed to get to that 10,000 threshold, which I think is acceptable in my eyes. For me, a successful Takeover Tour is where you have the attendance of at least 10,000. You dip below 5 figures, and then we're gonna have a problem. All right, so. And the poor Purr Bear's not let me. He's really. I keep mentioning it to Louis, you let me down. Literally before we came on, it was like, let's go get Bernie and Tommy. And Louis was like, can I come? I'm like, no, Louis, sit. You did not do well last year. You did not do well. No, so we've managed to abide. We've managed to. I'm getting so tongue-tied today. We've managed to survive a stage invasion from Louis. Yeah. Oh, and St. Louis, I think would be like where you go? Like these two, I think St. Louis would really be good for Minnesota in terms of travel. But unfortunately, you didn't show me the interest, St. Louis. You didn't show me the intrigue. So unfortunately, I can't keep a reference. I can't do it. I'd want to, but I can't. I have to put AHL affiliations aside. I mean, we get on well in the AHL, but I have to put that aside. I've got to do what's best for the league, and if that means it has to be this place or that place, and so there. So if you are thinking about getting a ticket, then I would suggest the moment these go on sale, you get in first and fast. Especially if you are thinking about the 2 Detroit games, because they are going to sell out within no seconds. I'm so glad I'm not going to Detroit, because I think that would just sell so quick. So please do get it. If you want to go to one of these games, please do and get your tickets straight away. Do not delay. Just don't. Do not hang about. Okay, because this is and you will have a really, really lovely time. I would love to attend a Takeover Tour. I've got so many. I keep saying to Play, should we do an episode on it? I've got so many trial plans I want to do with the PWHL over the next couple of years. And I'd love to see a Takeover Tour game, just because I want to see how experience, because obviously we all know what it's like to experience a game of hockey in our respective teams' markets. And some of us have also been lucky to go at trouble on the road. I mean, I got to see the Sharks at Anaheim during my first visit to California. That was really exciting. But I've never really experienced a neutral site game. And I'd quite like to do that. I'd like to see how does it feel different compared to what you've already done. So I'd love to do that. So I'd love to maybe go to see a Takeover game one day. Obviously, of course, you guys know I want to travel to all local 6 markets. Vancouver, Seattle, I will let you convince me to come to your place, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah. So keep an eye on the podcast, because there might be a Birds episode one day when I bring Plur Lady on, and they can come on with me, and we can talk about the travel plans I want to do. It's so funny because I've never been a big traveller. As you guys know, I am getting quite a bit now. I'm mentally, I'm reaching my old age. I'm reaching my twilight years, and as Lady said plenty of times, we found a lead that makes a lot of trouble. And what I've learned is that women's sports bands do travel. They do get all over the place. But that is large because for a lot of women's sports bands, they don't get the opportunity to have this in their city every single day. So, yeah, so I just totally get it. So, we'll see. But we're really excited for the Takeover. I'm so glad it's back, because I think during the off-season, I didn't know whether the tour was going to come back or not. I mean, the first part of the off-season was obviously dedicated to the ripple effects of the Torrent and Golden Eyes and the expansion process we had to build their rosters. And then after that, it just kind of went sort of quiet, and the days felt long, and we're just itching to get back into it. So, so I don't know if we thought it was going to come back or not. So I'm really glad it's back, and I think this needs to be a staple thing. So every year, we do a couple of handful of games. It's a massive jump between 9 we had last year and 16 this year. Just doing a handful of games each year, and that's really going to help grow the not just the fan engagement, but also the outreach for the PWHL as a whole. And that's what we need to do, because obviously we are very much in the growing phase right now. We need to do everything we can to grow this league, literally just beyond. We've got to do what we can. So, yeah, so I'd love to pick up a staple each year. And I'd love to see some new markets go on. Honestly, us three, we were a little bit disappointed that California did not get a look in this time. But maybe it makes you wonder, is California not ready yet? Because the problem with California is there's so many places you can go. You've got, obviously, Anaheim, LA, San Jose. Obviously, the AHL is stacked with California boxes. So literally, there's no shortage of cities in California you could go to. The question is logistics, facilities, and also what you do in terms of naming. So maybe the league's thinking, maybe we're not quite ready to breach the California subject just yet. Maybe next season, eh? Maybe next season. Next season. We've got some really interesting first timers this year, and some that I probably didn't think would have thought of. And I don't think any of the I'll still check that episode back. But I don't think any of the markets that were suggested in that Hockey News Report article over the summer, I don't think any of them got a look in. None. And there were some very interesting options. You can check that episode back. I can't remember what it's called. We recorded it over the summer. So look back on some of those. Yeah. So really excited that the Takeover Tour is back. And for those of you who are my fellow Frost fans, I'll just remind us of our Takeover Tour games. So we've got 3 Takeover Tour games this year. The first of those is December 21st. We'll be in Chicago as the designated home team, hosting our charge. Then on the 27th of December, we're going to be in Edmonton, where we'll be the designated road team against the Vancouver Golden Eyes. And then our third stop is the return trip to Denver on the 15th of March. We'll be the designated home team and hosting the New York Sirens. Those are the 3 that our Frost are going to be taking part in. That's the exact same number of us we had last year. Last year we just had 3 stops. We had Detroit, Denver, and Raleigh. Those are the 3 stops we had last year. check your respective teams' web pages to see the dates and times for your respective Takeover Tour games, because the time differences vary depending on which market you're in and who you support. Yeah, so it's really excited. I'm really glad it's back. Yeah, because that was all was missing. So obviously last week we got obviously the Torrent and Golden Eyes to build their brands, and all that was missing was to sort out these 20 TBDs. Now there are still 4 outstanding. There's one involving the Scepters, a home game for the Scepters, a home game for the Victoire, a home game for the Fleet, and a home game for the Sirens. Now, the Scepters and Victoire, we can pretty much presume that it would be their respective Battle on Top and Battle on Bay Street games. So that's done. What it is for the Fleet and Sirens, I have no idea, because that gets a bit tricky. If you're thinking maybe the TD Guard of Boston, not going to work, because on that day, the Boston Bruins are at home. I don't know what's going on with the Sirens, but yes. So there are just, at the time of recording this, on the 13th of November, there are just 4 TBDs left on the League's calendar in terms of location. Obviously, there are still a few games with times yet to be confirmed, because obviously, like on the last regular season, we're all going to be in play, so obviously you can't work that out until near the time. Yeah, so exciting. Really excited. So yeah, so I also checked afterwards on the Frost schedule. The only TBD we've got left is the time for our final game of the regular season against Vancouver. But the rest of it, we pretty much all got all sorted. So that's really exciting. Yeah. So there you go. So we're pretty much all done now. We pretty much now got everything we need ready for the start of the season. That's just really exciting. Yeah. But really glad Takeover Tour is back. And I'm going to be really... I had so much fun covering the tour last year. Yeah, it was a really great fun thing to do. The one thing I will change this year is the leaderboard. Last year I did a leaderboard of all the attendances and then posted it on my Instagram at the end of the tour. I can't really do that this year because, as we know, 5 cities have got multiple games. So I've been plenty suggesting maybe do a record. So drop down the game, date, the teas, and the attendance. So it might be like a little, I don't know, graphic where I've got, yeah. I'm workshopping it. I've got a month to workshop it. Yeah. So I will be keeping track of all the attendances, regardless how many need to get to watch or not. I will be keeping track of the attendances, and we'll have something posted on my Instagram again at the end of the tour. So that is, yeah. So that's that's going to be the only difference in my coverage for the tour list. Yeah, but apart from that, I'm really excited. Can't wait to cover it again, and yeah, I'm really excited. So all I'll say is, for Chicago, Edmonton, and Denver, get ready to feel the freeze.